individually from that crime by believing that we have a higher sanction. And that's the danger of religion, in that it allows people to do that. It allows them to kill without a shred of conscience.
I witnessed the death of Maisie Shaw.
Unrepentant reveals Canada's darkest secret: the deliberate extermination of Indigenous peoples and the theft of their land under the guise of religion. This never-before-told tale is seen through the eyes of a former minister who blew the whistle on his own church after he learned of its murder of thousands of children in its Indian residential schools.
When God is on our side, we can commit any crime. We're absolved individually from that crime by believing that we have a higher sanction. And that's the danger of religion, in that it allows people to do that. It allows them to kill without a shred of conscience.
The church is hiding and the government's hiding. There is a lot of people that died in those places.
The church knows where our children are buried. 50,000 died.
She was standing at the top of the stairs, and he kicked her. She went rolling downstairs.
What happened to the thousands of children who died or disappeared while in Canada's Indian residential schools? Why have Canada and the churches responsible for their fate refused to say what happened to them, and stayed silent in the face of hundreds of eyewitnesses who claim seeing murders and experiencing obscene tortures in these schools? And why do Native people across Canada continue to die at genocidal levels? Unrepentant dares to pose these questions in the face of denial, cover-up, and attacks from the Government of Canada and its churches.
The Achilles heel here is the issue of the land. How was it gotten? When you look at the mechanics of how the land was taken, it's out-and-out murder, mass murder.
That's exactly what I feel. There was genocide. The control was taken over when our people started to die.
And they said they're burying another one.
Forced to choose between the truth and his own church that committed these crimes, Reverend Kevin Annett opts for the truth at a terrible personal cost. In a seemingly hopeless battle, Kevin and a handful of Native survivors try to force disclosure out of powerful and murderous institutions. Filmed on location on stolen land where the planned extermination of Native people occurred and is continuing, Unrepentant dares to expose Christian Canada's dark shadow for the first time by exploring one man's struggle to remain true and do justice to his culture's victims.
Children are buried. 50,000 died.
Even in the sunlight, the Alberni Valley was draped in fog that first morning I arrived there in the spring of 1992. Jesus once said that when we welcome the stranger, we're actually welcoming him. But how could I have known that by opening my door to him and to so many others, I'd be closing the door to all that I knew? Nothing was clear to me at first. I felt like I was on the brink of something, like standing on a dock waiting. What was clear was that I was heading for a job interview at St. Andrew's United Church in Port Alberni on Canada's west coast, where I hoped to become the minister. When I walked through the doors of that church, I knew there was a deeper purpose that had brought me there. And sure enough, I got the job. There were no Native people in my church when I got there. You know, there was like 20 people in the pews on a Sunday, and they were all white. They were like retired loggers and millwrights, and about a third of the population was Native, and there were no Indians in any of the white churches. There were no Indians working in the stores anywhere. You know, it was just a totally apartheid, and it still is. It's very much an apartheid kind of community. And that's actually one of the things that got me interested. Just a little anecdote. When I went up at the end of the first service, I went up to the chair of my board and I said, you know, Fred, it's kind of odd there aren't any Indians around. You know, like where are they all? And he got really defensive, and he said, well, they keep to themselves, we keep to ourselves, and everybody likes it that way. And so when I went out to I got called out to the local Seychat Reserve to conduct a wedding a few weeks later. I asked a man who I was marrying, Danny Gus his name was, he was a retired Native fisherman, and he had gone to the Alberni school. And I asked him kind of innocently why there were no Native people in church, and he finally said to me, they killed my best friend in the residential school. He's buried in the hill out back, And the church people all know it. They don't want us in their church. So it's...
Rode the plain, buffaloes like rain. We were one with everything we see. Next 100 years brought the trail of tears, residential school, death, pain, poverty. Lost our way, no hope in today. We were broken, beaten down. Teen suicide, addictions on the rise, and who we once were, oh, ever be found. Look me in the eye as I pray up to the sky. It's not over yet, we're part of His plan. So be strong and be proud, stand tall and have no fear, 'cause we're stronger than this. And remember, we're still here. Generation, educated youth, traditional ways rekindle you. See, pain's a teacher, oh, and love's a healer. Can we all hold on, oh, to this truth? Look us in the eye as we pray up to the sky. It's not over yet, we're part of His plan. So be strong and be proud, stand tall and have no fear, 'cause we're stronger than this. And remember, we're still here. We're still here. Oh, 'cause our hearts are strong. What happened was wrong, but as long as one has hope, they will carry on. So look us in the eye as we pray up to the sky. It's not over yet, So be strong and be proud, stand tall and have no fear, 'cause we're stronger than this. And remember, we're still here. We're still here. Oh. Remember, we're still